Hey YouTube, this is Eric from Gagne Farms. Today I'm going to be showing you all about kegging beer. I brought the beer up here in the fermenter and we're just going to remove our airlock. And we're going to set this aside and then we're going to take our lid off quick. What we're going to do next is we're going to get our final gravity. Our original gravity was 1.076. So we want to be, I believe, right around 1.02 for our final. So I just want to get this lid off without splashing everything. Oh, that's a great aroma right there. Okay, and then what I've got here, this is a refractometer, and this will measure our final gravity. And what we do is, I've already sterilized this. You take the sight glass up, and we have an eyedropper here. And what we'll do, this has already been sterilized as well. We will get our just all you need is a drop. Put one drop of beer on the refractometer. Just set that there. Tip our eyeglass down, and then what I usually like to do is just wait a few seconds here, and this lets the beer come to temperature and kind of get on the sight glass there just a little bit. So, and then you look in it, and there's a graduated scale in there, and this will show us right where our final gravity is. Yep, so I've got 1.02. So we're right there. We're supposed to be at just about 1.015. So we're a few ticks off. But with using my tilt is at the 1.02 and 53 degrees. It's a little bit chilly, but it'll be all right. But we're at 1.02 on this as well, so that worked out great. We've got our keg all washed out. Next we're going to reassemble. So we're going to take our O-ring and put it over top of our lid. Just like that. Make sure that the O-ring is nice and seated. On our keg we have a in for our CO2 in and an out for our beer. And we're going to put our smaller stem on the inside of the keg, put a ball lock connector over top, and then on the out put of the keg we're going to put our long stem to reach down to the bottom of the keg to get our beer out, and then place on top of that the ball lock connector. We're going to take a 7/8 wrench and tighten these connectors up. Okay, now that everything's been reassembled, we're going to siphon our beer out of our fermenter into our keg. We have a siphon here, and we're just going to stick the hose in. We just want to make sure that we don't go up over top of the small stem in our keg, because that's where the CO2's got to come in, so we can't cover the small stem. We just simply stick our siphon in here, usually one good pump. Today it's going to be 2 pumps and a third pump. There we go. And we're going to get it siphoning right through. And I just try to watch this and make sure that I'm not on the bottom of the fermenter, so I'm not sucking up any of the yeast, or the yeast bed that they call it, on the bottom of the fermenter. So now I've placed my keg on the floor to help the flow for the siphon. You can siphon it up on the table, it just goes a little bit faster if you set it on the floor. So right now you kind of got to watch. We're almost down to our yeast bed here, and we want to tip this up, which I'm going to try to show. We're going to try to tip this up, keep our siphon off of the yeast bed, but still siphon into our keg. So we're going to try to get that last, probably about gallon, half gallon, gallon. We're going to try to get out of there. You don't need to be greedy here and try to siphon too much of the beer off the yeast bed. You're going to have some of the particles of the yeast and a little bit of the hops and everything in there. That's just going to cloud up your beer. You don't need to be greedy. You've made enough out of this batch, you can let a little bit go. The one thing you don't want to do is stick your siphon into the yeast bed and pump that into your keg. You don't want extra yeast in your keg. See how I'm doing that? I just tilt the fermenter on its side. The yeast bed's going to cake up. It's already caked. It's going to stay on the bottom. And you're just going to siphon what you can right out of there. And I think I'm going to call that good, right about there. Now we just make sure that our beer level in our keg has not rose above the small stem. We need to have our CO2 come in our keg, and we don't want that beer to block that off. So we have about 1 inch of headroom in this keg right here, which is great. Now we're going to take our lid, just stick it in the hole, twist it, make sure we got a good seat. I kind of usually move it around just a little bit, and that's sealed up real good for us right there. So now we're going to go and install this into our kegerator. Now we're going to insert our keg of beer into our kegerator. We have our CO2 tank to our regulator valve. A regulator valve has a outlet that goes to the keg right here with a ball lock, and then goes through the keg, out another ball lock, out to the tap. You guys want to make sure that you have your in and your out in the right spots. So your in is for your CO2. You want to make sure you hook up your CO2 ball lock onto your in on your keg. And then you want to make sure that you have your out, which is going to your tap on the out of your keg. Okay, now that we got that, I just try to coil up these hoses a little bit. Place it right in the kegerator. So now we're going to adjust our regulator and our CO2 tank. We are going to turn our CO2 tank on. We're going to adjust our regulator till we have about 30 psi. And what we're going to do here, we are force carbonating this keg. So we're going to leave it on 30 psi for around 2 to 3 days. Once we get our regulator gauge to 30 psi, we're going to turn our valve on, which puts our CO2 from the tank through the regulator at the specified pressure into our tank. Okay, now we're just going to turn our CO2 into our tank. Make sure we have our regulated PSI right about 30 pounds. And I'll check that throughout the evening just to make sure that we're still at 30. That's it. Make sure everything is buttoned up. Shut the door. Hey guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it here at Gagne Farms. Thanks for watching.